Quote of the day: chase sunsets, not people. Dance like the moon is watching, and love like the stars might gossip about it later. That is the quote of the day. Now let's get right into this video. So I don't want this video to be too long because there's a lot to talk about, but let me just tell you, this pay-per-view, this premium live event, Evolution, this all-women's premium live event, WWE absolutely delivered, and they did right by the women, and they definitely did right, by this Evolution premium live event. Everything, not everything, let me not go too crazy. Most of everything on this show was really good and it was really on point. This show was amazing, but it had some questionable decisions. Let's just get right into it so this video is not too long. So at the beginning of the show, before anything even starts, we get this pretty cool little opening package, this pretty cool video segment where it shows off some of the greatest women's wrestling moments in history, some of the greatest women's talent in history, and it shows the history of the entire women's division, the women's industry, for WWE and stuff like that. And it was pretty cool. And it really hyped up the event and it really set the tone. And I really liked it. And like I said, it just showed off overall the whole entire history of the women's division, what they've been through, what they've accomplished and stuff like that. And it was a really cool moment. I like the video package. But anyhow, we got our first match of the night. The first match of the night was the triple threat match. It was Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I noticed that Bayley seemed to have gotten her theme song back, her role model. That theme song back. I feel like they changed it recently and gave it right back to her. But anyhow, though, I noticed that she got her old theme song back. Anyways, this match was amazing. And this is how you open up a PLE. This match was absolutely entertaining. Like this first match literally had the potential to be match of the night. That's how good it was. Like these three women, the build-up sucked, but the match was amazing. It was really good. And that's all I'm going to say. Everything looked good. The moves were on point and the spots were on point. So some highlights from this match were that Bayley immediately decided to target Lyra Valkyria and she got her out the way early. Bayley and Becky brawled for a little bit. Bayley and Becky ended up throwing Lyra Valkyria face first into the announcer's table. Lyra Valkyria hit a off the top rope double cross body on both Bayley and Becky. Bayley hit a big off the top rope elbow drop. Becky hit a superplex. Lyra Valkyria hit an off the top rope leg drop, which looked pretty good. There's a name to it, but I can't pronounce it. It's like rotisserie chicken or something like that. So I don't know, but there was a complicated name to it. That move has a name. I just can't pronounce it. I don't even know what they said, but it was something along the lines of rotisserie chicken or something like that. I'm kidding. It was some French name, I think. I don't know. But anyhow, she hit a off the top rope leg drop. Becky Lynch hit a double inverted DDT on both Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Bayley hit her old finisher, the Bayley to belly. Bayley hit the rose plant on Lyra Valkyria, and Becky Lynch ended up coming out of nowhere and taking advantage of the moment, and she rolls up Bayley 1, 2, 3 for the win. And Becky Lynch retains, and Becky Lynch is still your women's intercontinental champion. So Becky Lynch retained, and I kind of thought this would happen. It went down exactly how I thought. But this was an amazing opening match. This match, I'm telling you, this is how you start up a PLE. This is how you open up a PLE. You have something good. You have something amazing, have something attention grabbing. You have something, I'm like, dude, I was hooked from here on. After this, though, we got our second match of the night. It was Fatal Influence member JC Jane versus Muscle Muffin JG Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. And Muscle Muffin is a NXT thing, if you're wondering. So yeah, that's a little NXT joke we have over here. No, but it's a little NXT reference. If you know, you know. We had Blake Monroe ringside and also the rest of the Fatal Influence members. We had all those women ringside, which was pretty cool. Anyhow, though, this was a solid match. And it did not have the outcome I expected or what I hoped would happen, but it was still a solid match nonetheless. The in-ring action was pretty good, so that was that. It just had a different outcome than what I would have, went with, but I'm not the booker, so that doesn't matter. Some highlights from this match were that Muscle Muffin, Jordan Grace, hit a middle rope suicide dive. Jordan Grace hit a folding sit-out powerbomb. JC Jane hit a draping, twisting neck breaker, which looked pretty good. Jordan Grace hit a modified fisherman suplex. I was like, dude, the commentators couldn't even give a name for it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just call it my own thing because that's what it looked like. Anyhow, though, JC Jane ended up hitting a top rope hurricanrana on Jordan Grace. Blake Monroe, we thought Blake Monroe was on Jordan Grace's side because she was, being there for her, supporting her. She even took out Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley, on Jordan Grace's behalf because they were trying to interfere. She even did all that. But at the very end of the match, Blake Monroe ended up hitting Jordan Grace, the Muscle Muffin, with the NXT Championship while the ref wasn't looking. And this costed Jordan Grace the match. and JC Jane ended up hitting like a big punch on her on Jordan Grace, and she pinned Jordan Grace for the win. And JC Jane retained the NXT Women's Championship. Yeah, I'm kind of like, man, like it's funny because Blake Monroe literally debuted yesterday. Like her debut match was yesterday, and she already turned heel. Kind of like I'm like, dude, that was funny. But anyhow, though, this was a solid match. Like I said, solid in-ring match. It just had a different outcome than I thought, you know. But anyhow, after this, we got a Fatal 4-Way, the Women's Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match. It was the match that consisted of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus Sol Ruka and Zarya versus the Kabuki Warriors versus the Judgment Day. And like, I really don't like the concept of these type of matches where you have 4 different tag teams, but only 2 women, 2 competitors are in the ring at the same time. I'm like, what's the point of making like a Fatal 4-Way? Have it like where it's like one member from each team is in the ring at all times and they could tag in their own partner. Like, it's kind of goofy and weird if like somebody from one team tags in another person from another team. I'm like, why? Just have it where it's like one member from each team is in the ring at all time. It's like a Fatal 4-Way, you know, and you could just tag out. Like, that's what it should have been like. And I was like, this kind of bothered me, but I overlooked it. It was fine. But besides that, though, this was a really good match as well. But I have no idea, absolutely no idea why the Judgment Day retained. I don't know why Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez retained. Like, all the teams you had in this match, you have the Judgment Day retain? Like, really? Like, for real? Like, you can have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, who were completely over. They were so over. You can have them win it? Like, come on. So I'm guessing we're just getting more Judgment Day, I guess. Very exciting. Whoop, whoop. Like, man. that kind of bothered me. I really didn't like the winners of this match. I really didn't like the outcome. But anyhow, though, some highlights from this match were that we started off with Kairi Sane facing off against Roxanne Perez. Then blah, blah, blah. Some spots happened. Some moves were thrown. Da-da-da-da-da. Raquel Rodriguez ended up power slamming Kairi Sane into Asuka. Sol Ruka hit an over-the-top rope X Factor, which looked amazing. Charlotte Flair hit a top rope double crossbody. Charlotte Flair ended up hitting a spear on Roxanne Perez. The Kabuki Warriors hit a lot of tag team move sequences. You know, they didn't really do anything like separately, any big moves separately, you know, but like they did a lot of big tag team moves. Zarya hit a double suplex. Sol Ruka ended up hitting the Soul Snatcher on Charlotte Flair. Zarya ended up accidentally spearing her own partner. Alexa Bliss hit a tornado DDT. Roxanne Perez hit the Pop Rocks, and at the very end of the match, Raquel Rodriguez hit the Tahana Bomb on Sol Ruka, who was still laid out in the middle of the ring trying to recover. Raquel Rodriguez hits the Tahana Bomb on Sol Ruka for the win. 1, 2, 3. Judgment Day retain. And I'm like, man, I really wanted a different winner. I'm getting tired of this Judgment Day nonsense. I really wanted a different winner, and this would have been the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity to have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte win, man. Really solidify, you know, that tag team. Like this, that would have been the perfect moment, and that would have even boosted up my rating for this Evolution pay-per-view a lot more. But anyhow, let's keep moving. After this, though, we got probably arguably the worst match of the night, in my opinion. But it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't it was just the worst match of the night out of all the matches we got. It was a decent match, though. Don't get me wrong. This match could have been a whole lot worse. Believe me. This match was decent. It could have been a lot worse. I'm telling you, it could have been. So I'm just happy we got what we got. But anyway, though, it was decent for what it was. We got the Trish Stratus versus Tiffany Stratton match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And that was the match. Anyhow, though, after the match ended, I was thinking that it was weird they had this match before the Naomi versus, you know, Jade Cargill match. I'm like, why would you have it in that order? I was thinking in my head, I'm like, wouldn't you want to have this after the Naomi versus Jade Cargill match so you could like potentially tease a cash in or like make it more unpredictable? But little did I know, Chad Gable should have hit me with the shoes so I could shut up, you know. Little did I know what we had in store. It was amazing. I'm not even gonna spoil it yet. You probably already know. But anyhow, some highlights from this match. We had Trish Stratus. She hit a Hurricanrana on Tiffany Stratton off the ring apron, which looked pretty good. There was a couple botches in this match too. Don't mistake it. Like, it wasn't perfect by any means. It just could have been a lot worse. Anyhow, some more highlights. Trish Stratus hit a off the top rope tornado DDT. Tiffany Stratton hit a suplex backbreaker, which looked pretty cool. Tiffany Stratton hit a top rope swanton dive. Trish Stratus hit the Stratusfaction, her finisher. And at the very end of the match, Tiffany Stratton ended up botching the Alabama Slam. And then after she botches the Alabama Slam, she gets up on the top rope and she hits the prettiest moonsault for the win. And like in this match, they also ended up botching like a ring apron move. I think Tiffany Stratton was supposed to get like Hurricanrana off of it, but like the first time, or like get her face bashed in. But like they kind of messed up that whole spot and had to scrap it. But whatever, botches happen. Da 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 da. Like I said though, this was probably the worst match of the night. Not because it was completely terrible, it just wasn't that good. It was just decent. It could have been a whole lot worse, and I'm just happy we got what we got. Moving on. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm kind of just running through these, so we could get to good stuff. After this, though, we got our fifth match of the night. It was Jade Cargill versus Naomi, a no holds barred match. Special guest referee Bianca Belair. And let me tell you, this was a really good match. Both Naomi and Jade Cargill looked strong, Like, no matter who won, who lost, well, it would have mattered. But I was saying in my predictions video that it wouldn't matter if Naomi lost because she wouldn't have looked weak. She still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I said Jade Cargill had to win, to build her up and all this and all that. And that's exactly what happened. This was a really good match straight down the middle. Throughout the whole match, it was entertaining. They had some pretty like weird moments where like they took like big pauses. Like they just had the camera on like Jade Cargill breathing while Naomi setting stuff up and stuff like that, vice versa, which I found that pretty weird, but I overlooked it, But like I said, this match was really good. They made Naomi look really strong and really unhinged. And like I said, both women look strong. Nobody gets discredited from winning this match, or losing this match. So yeah. Anyways, the one thing that bothered me, I don't know why they had Bianca Belair as the special guest referee. She literally contributed nothing to this match. She didn't add anything whatsoever. Like, she was, what purpose did she even serve, dude? I'm like, she was just there for the cheap pop. I'm like, I don't even know why you had her as the special guest referee. I feel like this match would have felt even more special with an actual referee, But anyhow, though, some highlights from this match. Naomi got slammed into the barricades pretty early on before the match even started. Jade Cargill ended up getting sent face first into some steel stairs. Jade Cargill got lit up with a kendo stick. Jade Cargill ended up spearing Naomi on the outside area. Naomi hit a running bulldog onto a steel chair on Jade Cargill, which looked amazing. Jade Cargill ended up wrapping a steel chain around her hand and she punched Naomi in the face, like a good mean hook to Naomi. And that looked pretty, intense. It looked pretty good. After this, though, Jade Cargill hit Naomi with the huge camera, like the camera is like the ring crew recorded with. She got that and just smacked Naomi in the face with it, which looked amazing. Naomi then sends Jade Cargill crashing through a table. Naomi hit a X Factor on a steel chair on Jade Cargill, which looked amazing as well. And at the very end of the match, Jade Cargill ended up hitting the Jaded off the top ropes through a table on Naomi for the win. 1, 2, 3. Jade Cargill defeats Naomi for the second time. Anyways, though, like I said, this match was really good. It was really amazing from start to finish. It was just, I don't know why Bianca Belair was there. That's it, But after this, though, we got our sixth match of the night. It was the Women's Battle Royal. Winner receives a championship match at the PLE called Clash in Paris. And this match was kind of weird in my opinion, but we'll get into that. So the number 1 entrant was Nikki Bella, and the number 2 entrant was Chelsea Green. If that's important to anyone, that was the order it's in. If that matters, if it's important to anyone, that's the order it was in. Anyway, so the weird thing is I thought this was going to be like a Royal Rumble where like we get surprise entrants, everyone comes out one after the other. But no, it was actually just like a thing where we just got every woman making their entrance at the very start of the match. And everybody just comes out and they just have a huge brawl, And I'm like, I wish it was like the battle royal format, like so you could have like more surprises and more shocks when a woman comes out, And I honestly did think we were gonna get returns and stuff because I thought it was gonna be like a battle royal. And I was even saying, oh, I hope AJ Lee comes back. And now I look silly and goofy, don't I? But anyhow, though, I wish it was like the Royal Rumble format, but nonetheless, that kind of took away a little bit of excitement from this match for me. But that was literally the only iffy part, the only weird part. So before I get into the order that all the women were eliminated, let's just talk about some spots that happened. Kalani Jordan ended up doing the handstand walk back into the ring. Like she remade that whole little Kofi Kingston spot, which was pretty cool. We had a spot where we got a 5-woman super suplex spot, which looked good. We got a spot where B-Fab and Mia Chin hit a long back attack in unison, so they were just twerking and dancing in the ring for whatever reason in the middle of a battle royal. It was funny, whatever, Chelsea Green ended up hitting the Nikki Bella emote. After this, Nikki Bella attacks Chelsea Green, and Lola Vice and Nikki Bella hit the Nikki Bella emote. Stephanie Vauquer ended up hitting a Devil's Kiss on Chelsea Green. Nia Jax, oh lord, I'm still recovering from this trauma. Nia Jax ended up hitting the Nikki Bella emote, and I pray to God I never see this happen on my TV ever again. I did not need to see this. They needed to put a warning, They needed to put like a attention. This could be detrimental. to your eyes and to your mental. Be careful. Proceed with caution. Don't watch this if you don't want to get scarred. Man, no, I'm just kidding though. But I really don't want to see this happen on my TV ever again. Because like she hit it, like it was the worst Nikki Bella emote I've ever seen someone hit. But anyhow, though, let's keep moving on. I'm just playing around. But after that, though, that was the big spots. That was the like little interesting things that happened. Like the key moments, though, were the last three women were actually Stephanie Vaquer, Lash Legend, and Nia Jax, to my surprise. But before I get into all that, let's get into the elimination order. So Tatum Paxley was the first woman to be eliminated. Then it was Issy Dame, and then the order follows this. It was Ivy Nile, Natalia, Maxine Dupree, then Candice LeRae, then Miss Parker, Jada Parker, then it was Kalani Jordan, Julia, BFAB, Mia Chin, Zelina Vega, Alba Fire. Then it was Lola Vice, Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, and Nikki Bella. And then we got to our last women of the match, which I said were Stephanie Vaquer, Lash Legend, and Nia Jax. Lash Legend and Stephanie Vaquer both ended up teaming up, and they eliminated Nia Jax as a team. And after this, these two women squared off, and Stephanie Vaquer ended up hitting the Devil's Kiss on Lash Legend on the ring apron to eliminate her, which was pretty cool. And Stephanie Vaquer is your Battle Royal winner. She ended up cutting a pretty good promo after the match. I really liked her promo. She was putting a lot of effort into it. English isn't her first language and all, so you got to give credit where credit is due. She delivered it pretty well. We understood what she wanted to say, and she said what she needed to say, and it was pretty good. And I'm really happy this was the outcome we got. I predicted it was either going to be, Nikki Bella or Stephanie Vaquer, so I'm glad I got at least one of my favorites winning. But after this, though, we got to the match of the night, the main event. It was Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the Raw Women's Championship. And before this even starts, let's talk a little bit. Did you know that Rhea has never beaten Io Sky? Did I mention that Io Sky has never lost to Rhea Ripley? Fun fact, Rhea Ripley has never defeated Io Sky one-on-one. Dude, WWE kept saying this throughout the whole show. I'm like, dude, we get it, okay? Dude, it was so funny. They literally had a stat when Io Sky came out saying that Io Sky has never lost to Rhea Ripley. I was dying. I'm like, dude, how much more obvious do you want to make this? I'm over here like, okay, WWE, we get it, Jesus. Rhea Ripley has never beaten Io Sky, we get it. Rhea Ripley has never beaten Io Sky. Io Sky has always beaten Rhea Ripley. Move on. But it was funny though. But like for this whole match though, the crowd was kind of glazing it really hard at some spots, at some moments. Like we would have moments where like literally nothing happens and the crowd is going crazy. I'm like, dude, this is just like normal stuff. This is like normal moves, normal hits, normal offense. I don't know why you're going so crazy for. But like at the spots that the crowd should have been going crazy for, that they went crazy, I understood. But like there were some moments that just made no sense to pop for. And I was like, okay, whatever. But anyhow, though, this was definitely match of the night. And Io Sky absolutely carried this match. And it's not even up for debate. Io Sky was the superstar of this match. She carried this match. It wasn't Rhea Ripley that carried this match. No. Io Sky made this match what it was. This was match of the night because of Io Sky. And I don't care what anyone says. Io Sky is by far the greatest in-ring performer. Right now, at least, if not of all time. Io Sky is the greatest in-ring performer. One of my top favorites. But anyhow, though, before this gets too long, let's get into the highlights, Let's get into what happened. You're going to notice there's going to be a lot of Io Sky highlights because it was literally Io Sky carrying the match, like I said. Greatest in-ring performer of all time, Io Sky. Let's get into the highlights, okay? So Io Sky ended up hitting a springboard moonsault on Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley hit a drop kick onto Io Sky, which sent Io Sky, flying towards the announcer's table, which looked pretty cool. Io Sky hit a tornado DDT. Io Sky hit a suicide dive and a top rope missile dropkick. Io Sky hit a poison rana on Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley ended up hitting the Razor's Edge, and she turned that into a powerbomb also, which was a pretty cool sequence. Io Sky ended up actually accidentally almost killing a referee. No, I'm kidding. But Io Sky hit the meanest looking missile dropkick on the referee. I think this was probably the hardest spot I've ever seen a referee take, But anyhow, it was pretty funny. Io Sky just, like the meanest missile dropkick. I was like, dude, check on the ref. But anyhow, though, it was pretty funny. I was laughing so hard when this happened. I was like, geez, we lost one, boys. But anyhow, though, after the referee gets knocked down and knocked out, they end up brawling into the audience area for a long moment, which is pretty cool. It just added to the match. It added to the whole atmosphere. And while they're brawling into the audience area, Io Sky ends up climbing the highest stack of production boxes I've ever seen. And she hits a crazy crossbody onto Rhea Ripley. And I was like, dude, there's no debate. Io Sky, greatest in ring performer, and I don't want to hear it. But after that crazy spot happens, they end up brawling back into the ring, into the ring area. Io Sky ends up hitting a sunset flip powerbomb onto Rhea Ripley off the ring apron. And I was like, bro, oh my God. I'm telling you, this match was amazing because of Io Sky. Io Sky ended up hitting a over the moonsault, her finisher. Rhea Ripley ended up hitting a Spanish fly on Io Sky. And after this, both women are laid out in the middle of the ring, and boom, out of nowhere, Naomi's entrance music hits. Naomi comes running down to the ring, and then she ends up cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase. She hits Io Sky in the face with the Money in the Bank briefcase. She rolls Rhea Ripley out of the ring, and she ends up hitting her finisher, the split-legged moonsault on Io Sky for the win. And Naomi is your new Raw Women's Champion. And it was, dude, I was popping so hard. I was like, yes, because I did not want Rhea Ripley to win. Because I'm like, if you're taking it off Io Sky, like Io Sky's like, dude, like throughout this whole match, I was thinking, dude, I really hope they don't take it off Io Sky just to give it to Rhea Ripley. Like Io Sky is too good. Io Sky deserves better, man. Oh man, I was praying, and Lord Jesus heard my prayer, man. My prayers were heard, and Rhea Ripley ended up not winning, and that was probably the best thing that could happen for this pay per view, honestly. But like I said, though, Naomi ended up cashing her Money in the Bank briefcase and becoming the new Raw Women's Champion. And like I said, I'm so happy. I'm over the moon. I'm ecstatic that Rhea Ripley didn't win. I'm so glad Naomi was actually able to successfully cash in. This was an amazing moment, and Naomi absolutely deserves this. After everything, all the character development she went through, changing her character, finally finding something that clicks, her storytelling, how much effort she's been putting into all this, man, she deserves this moment. She deserved it. And like, there's no debate, no argument. And I'm like, she absolutely deserved this. And I'm like, if Io Sky was supposed to lose the championship, I'm happy this is how she lost it, and this was the outcome. And I can't, be mad at it too much. I'm just sitting here though. I'm still wondering what's next for Io Sky, like I hope she literally is still like, she's too good to be anything like near the mid card or stuff like that. She deserves to stay in the main event scene. And I'm just hoping she gets another championship run sooner rather than later, Oh, but also before I forget, Rhea Ripley is still yet to ever beat Io Sky 1-on-1, So keep that in mind. Rhea Ripley has never beat Io Sky 1-on-1. I don't know if it means anything to you. Dude, I'm so over this. Like, that is still stuck in my head. But anyhow, before I go on a whole nother rant or tangent, let's just talk about, my rating and stuff. This PLE, like I said, overall absolutely delivered, and I would rate it a solid 8 out of 10. This PLE did justice to the women's division. It did justice to the women's Evolution PLE, the pay-per-view premium live event. Man, this Evolution's pay-per-view, it was amazing. I enjoyed every second of it. Almost every second of it, and it was amazing, but still had some pretty questionable spots, moments, and outcomes. But besides that, it was really good, really amazing. I enjoyed it. But anyhow, though, that's my whole review. That's my whole breakdown of the Women's Evolution PLE. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for hearing me out. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.